In Tommy Eichenberg, who's the 6th ranked linebacker on the PFF big board. What did you think of Eichenberg?
Yeah, it's all red across the board here. Just check marks. No, yeah, all red check marks. Yeah, Tommy Eichenberg. First note I put watching his tape, and I've seen him enough of him being a Michigan fan, Big Ten country. He's just, to me, a tough, physical, no nonsense lunch pail linebacker. Comes ready to work. He's getting the lunch pail tag for me this year. Just what he seems like.
Sure.
He's an experienced, smart player. You won't have to question his effort. Instinctually and stuff. I thought to me it looks like he plays under control. Like he knows what he's good at, and what way he processes things. Overall, I thought he showed good strength at the point of attack. He's pretty well put together dude. I mean, at times he can hold his ground. It's tough in there, but he's just, compared to some of the guys, he got a little bit more praise in my notes as far as his ability to hold his own with his strength. But that's not necessarily it wasn't necessarily the biggest thing. But at times I thought he could hold it a little bit better than most. To me, he looks like a box dude. He looks like a guy that's going to hold down the middle, box enforcer type, I guess. Biggest concern it was around his speed and range. He just didn't look like the most agile linebacker to me either. Just wasn't sure if he's going to be able to patrol sideline to sideline. Thought he's a little more straight line when he goes type of dude. I think the athletic concerns. We didn't get to see him test, so I was really hoping to see him run and see what numbers, to see if I was missing a little bit there or not. I just kind of worry about his ability to hold up in coverage and man coverage specifically. I'm kind of worried about that. So that in that regard, I think it could maybe limit him to as a 2-down guy, which is a bummer, right, for IDP, because you come off the field and you're not going to get any points for us. So that's not great. So a little bit worried there with the athleticism. I would like to have seen him hit some numbers to see what he has. But and also one of the other things too is, he had a really nice junior season, but this last year his production dipped and so did his grades across the board. And that was one of the biggest things. I'm like, I watched both years, I watched some 2022 tapes and 2023 tape, and looked a little different, I guess, but it's a big concern kind of when it's that much of a drop for a guy that's, been the leader there. So, I don't know. What did you think?
Yeah. Concerning. Yeah, definitely. I'm going to be honest, like, I'm going to get kind of negative for Tommy Eichenberg a little bit, right? Like, I'll start positive, right? Like the first thing that stands out, really clean tackler. I think he has good form. He wraps up well, does a nice job kind of stopping runners in their tracks. And that translates to his missed tackle rate as well, right? He's improved that in each of the past 3 years. I think he had a solid 8.7 missed tackle rate in 2023, right? But I get, my problem with Eichenberg is that there's, at least in 2023, like, there's way too many instances of him kind of being washed out in the run game. I just found he was unable to win with power or shed blocks. And as a result, he's just taken out of position to make tackles more often than not. And that just scares me when translating to the NFL. And then, like you said, as far as coverage goes, I'll just say, like, this is a 2-down linebacker. I did not like what at all what I saw in coverage. Just looks lost, dropping into zone, takes some terrible angles when going after targets. Range is fine, and there are times when he makes like a nice kind of rangy play to tackle around the line of scrimmage, but just not enough for me. If I'm any NFL team to want to, I'm not putting him on the field on crucial passing downs, at least not, early in his career. I thought he did a fine job rushing the passer at times, so that probably is the best opportunity for him to get on the field on those downs, but it's not something that, was special by any means. And it's something that most NFL prospects at the linebacker position are going to be above average at. It is blitzing, right? And he's just really close to the average in that regard. So it was weird. Like this, you mentioned it, like this past year, I don't know. I didn't like what I saw for the most part. I mean, especially compared to his 2022 tape, where he was just so much better at getting around blockers, putting himself in the right position. the difference between that year and 2023 was night and day. And I don't know, maybe we have some Ohio State fans who could shed some light on it or whatever, but I don't know, what was he dealing with, an injury last year that I'm missing? Did his give a shit level drop? Was 2022 just an anomaly? And this is the linebacker that he is. Either way, he's probably like another mid to late day 3 prospect for me. And I don't know if he's going to win any starting jobs in the NFL to be IDP relevant at this point. So I'm super low on Eichenberg.
I had the same notes, man. It's 2 down guys. What I thought 2022, he was a lot better at the point of attack, stacking and shedding. This year, I watched only a few games going back, but because I was trying to understand why everything, there was such a dip. Like, what happened? And it just, I don't know. Like, there was even times this year where he'd hit in the hole, hold his ground, but do nothing with it. You can hold it sometimes, but then you're not making the play because you're just grasping at air at that point. But it's a mixed bag there. But yeah, it was. I'm with you, man. I was hoping for better. He's made plays against Michigan over the years. I've seen him. I've seen 35 screw things up for us. But this year's tape was a little underwhelming for sure. Worry about his. He's a 2-down dude. That scares me too.
Yeah, that's the thing. And like you said, like, he's one of those lunch pail guys, right? And I thought I'd come in kind of liking him a little bit more, especially because I started, with late 2022 tape and thought, there was some good in there, and then moved to 2023 to watch the full season. And I just came away feeling like, he's going to be a rotational guy at best, kind of regardless of where he lands. So I mean, I had, for landing spot, I have him staying in the state of Ohio with the Cincinnati Bengals. I think, he can kind of work in among that rotation of linebackers there with Wilson and Pratt and Davis Gaither. If, one of those guys goes down, there's a role for him to get some action without being thrust into a full-time role where I think he'd absolutely get exposed. So, potentially play some of those like Marcus Bailey snaps, which is to say, like, start out on like a super low snap count, but still see the field some in year 1, basically. So how about you? Where did you have?
Makes sense. I have him in the state of Ohio as well, just going to Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
So they lost Taki and who else did they lose? Gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Anthony Walker. So there's some snaps they lost, and they brought in Jordan Hicks. He's not going to challenge Jordan Hicks. So I was just looking like depth, a guy that could, maybe play in the middle a little bit for him. I'll let JOK run wild and be cool and be fun. So zero threat to him. But a lot of the same lines, right? Those guys that left were 400 or 500 snap a year guys anyway. So that's that's what I envision as well.